All right. Starting to see how there's a variety of things that this is going to be kind of interesting to because the left has to make a variety of different issues the issue that it's the new thing, and they're mad about it, and they got to stay mad about it, or they lose momentum. So it's going to be interesting to see then, like, what does Trump decide he's going to fuck with them next about? Because that now that's what it is. That everything's about getting that reaction. You know, people realize this now with social media and stuff. Trump kind of wrote the book on that with, you know, being the way he's run his career, being as media savvy as he's been. Whether, you know, people like it or don't like it, I mean, that's the thing. In fact, actually, I frequently hear all these detractors kind of like talk about him in ways that I'm like, okay, it will never matter that you simply have no capacity to get to the level he got to. I mean, it's just, and it helped, of course, that he was in the family business. But that's the issue, isn't it? Your father didn't train you in your family business so that you had to sink or swim in the family business. Like, he basically gave him the opportunity. You're going to sink or you're going to swim. That's what everyone wants to think of it another way. But, it, you know, like, oh, because rich people they just hand their kids everything. And it tells you a lot about the way they were raised, you know. And it's because Trump enjoys his money, and he you know, and that's the thing. He enjoys his money, and there's really an issue a lot of Americans have with you make money and you openly enjoy your money. This is, I mean, think about how many people, if it's not a publicity photo or some social media post that's relatively crafted, there's people who are famous that you like them because of their candor about what they're doing, but there really is a thing of you don't try to really show off your pocketbook, and you'll notice that there will be people that their culture is showing off the pocketbook, like that's totally normal, and that might be what they're famous for, or the kind of culture they're famous in. Then there will be other ones that it's like, no, you never show off your pocketbook. That's just not done. That's not done, darling. So, and then so there's people that they kind of emulate the culture that you don't show off your pocketbook. You say words like darling a lot, and you have bleach blonde hair, and your name might be Milo, but you keep showing off your pocketbook like a gay man might. So, and yeah. So, because there's going to be all these reactions that are going to be coming up to, so now that's what the campaign is going to be. He's going to say things that people have to go nuts over, and then he counts on that. He just sits there and watches them bug out and burn things down, and people get angrier and angrier at all of these people who can't fucking, you know, they can't handle their liquor. And that's what it's going to be like. It's going to be like, can you people not react to everything this guy says by burning down some other person's neighborhood? And it'll just get more and more tiresome. And now there's not many enclaves, you know, that can handle that anymore either. And more of the enclaves are starting to come up with new rules, or actually enforce old laws, or bring old laws back to make it, you can't burn that down. I'm sorry. It's not your right to burn that down. And you know, you can't just live on this person's lawn, you know. Sorry, you don't have a right to do that. The people here have decided such. And or you don't have the privilege, because it was just doing something that people just let, you know, people do. It's like, nope, you gotta go. And that's now, and then the open, we're deporting these people, and the Democrats are going to call this all wrong, thinking that they're going to have black people who own anything. Oh, excellent. You guys, oh no. Black people who own anything are going to want to deport people if they're in one of the blue enclaves. Because they're going to be like, it's not my responsibility to feed these people. I don't know them, they don't know me. I have to deal with my own fucking life. And that is how they're going to look at it. And people are going to be like, oh, how could you? They're going to be like, I could with my will. I don't know why you're looking at me like that, like I'm supposed to feel some way about it. And that's how that's going to go. It's going to be guilt-free. They don't, and you know, a lot of the allies didn't understand that. And now they're starting to learn about, you know, I think all the allies are starting to learn a lot about each other. I think the alliance of unity and love is all starting to understand a lot more clearly about hate. They're like, damn, Tibetans got pink salt, blacks got their own kind of salt. Everybody's got a different kind of salt. They're putting salt all over my locks. Oh man. Oh man. And so now Trump had said something about, well, we'll just deport these people who support Hamas. Yes, that's what we want to hear. That is what we want to hear. Make them get angry. Make people start going, just go fucking banarnars over their support for an organization that's ideology is actually rooted in, historically, in fascism. This is the thing none of these people get, is that when socialism goes horribly right, you get a form of hard collectivism. And this hard collectivism is artificial, but it can dress up as something organic, such as it can dress up as Islam. Islam is just simply very, very, very akin already to socialism, hard socialism. So it responded by realizing that these Germans and their ideas about it made much more sense to them in light of pan-Arabism, which, if people don't really get that one, that would imply there are people in the region that aren't Arab. And it might not just be the Jews. Just putting that out there, because this seems to be something that a lot of lefty types people, they don't really kind of think about that. And yeah, so their weird alliance with Islam at the moment is, it's just not that weird. Hard collectivists, fascists, Nietzsche, all kinds of people that the left deeply really actually admires and styles themselves increasingly. Like, it's not even now like this thing that comes out of the punk movement, that it's like this kind of way of styling oneself that is not disruptive. It garners you negative attention. But no, now it's more and more of this kind of trying to look like some kind of uniformed, punk rock hip hop terrorist. Like some kind of scuffed Wu-Tang Clan. Broke ass Wu-Tang. It's the Poontang Clan. And so one of the things also is that beautiful, he's already, and then Trump's like, yeah, and there's not going to be any child, we're banning child transitioning. It's not going to happen anymore, anywhere. It's going to be against medical, it's going to be against the law. You will lose your medical license, ... And we will put you in jail. You'll lose your license and you'll go to jail. And anyone who participates will go to jail. And, yeah. And so this is going to be cited as this just absolute proof that he's just the worst person ever. and and that he just is planning on doing all the terrible things that you could imagine and can't imagine. You can't even imagine the terrible things he's going to be doing. And so the reaction's going to have to happen, because this is going to set off mentally ill people, and the mentally ill adjacent. What the beauty of this one's going to be is, at some point there's going to have to be the absolute discussion. And what's going to happen is there's going to be the moment that, it's going to be that the person's sitting there and they go, okay, well, what is the Kinsey scale then? And you're going to see their face fall as they just are like, oh shit. Oh shit. And then it's going to get into, all these freaks and their issues around the age of consent, and that all you'll have to do is start quoting, all these people who've developed these theories, and that they don't think there should be an age of consent because of their beliefs about being freaks. And so like how they're normal, everybody else has a problem. And there's no going to be no coming back from that. That's the part about this that's going to really be awesome, is as people try to explain that in some way. But it's the part that, because you know that somebody's waiting for that one to be across the table in the debate and say, so what's the Kinsey scale? They're waiting for that moment. It's probably like Walsh or one of those guys is just waiting for that moment. I can't believe I'm forgetting the other dude who's a really bad guy. He did the whole thing where he developed the whole theory of the separation of sex and gender from his interviews of criminals, and so I'm totally forgetting his name. I know you guys will remember and put it in the comments. It's just on the edge of my mind. I'm just not remembering. But when they start asking about these guys, that at some point somebody, and then there's going to be you actually have to come up with some evidence for this. Then there starts that. What they're going to do is they're going to start saying, a lot of people with a lot of degrees agree with me. Oh my gosh, you got to see this. Oh, look at this boy. That is the most beautiful. Oh, look at him. That is one handsome hound. Oh, that was such a beautiful bully. Oh my gosh. Oh, that just made my day. That made my day. Yeah. Wow. I love that people are embracing bulldogs again like that, and really, yeah, it's especially when they let them get nice and chunky, and they're not weirdly bred, so they have odd problems and stuff. That happens at different times with pit bulls. When they get in fashion, they'll breed them to be all champagne and stuff, but they'll be all goofy and doofy and stuff. But we need experimental evidence that the findings have been replicated. Once that happens, once that demand occurs, it's done. Because it's a field that not only has a dearth of experimental evidence that can be replicated, but it relies really on mostly a lot of political pressure and then open threats and coercion. And it always has. It's always relied on that. And this has never been about, this isn't like Sparta, and the Spartans are oh, I'm sorry, you're one of those and you can't vote here. That's not what's happening. Is that it's something having to do mostly with insurance policies is really what it comes down to, and spousal support from pension systems. And so it's just one of these things of when that starts to come up because the reaction what's going to happen is that they're not going to be able to talk their way out of it. It's going to be really bad too. I mean, because it's going to affect, like, because this is mostly this kind of psychological, it's kind of a religious issue with people, really, like, no, there's something magical about them, God damn it, and that's why we treat them this way. And so once that falls apart, it's gonna be bad. Like, it's gonna be really bad. Yeah. All right. Later.